In the mob, the distinction between member and associate is a significant one. For some associates, this can lead to an absolute source of frustration and anger. For example, in the late 1960s, Willie Boy Johnson, a Gambino associate, became angry with the Gambino crew he was around because no one helped his wife and kids while he was incarcerated. And this ultimately led to his agreeing to become a confidential informant. In Willie Boy's case, he could never become an official member due to his lack of being all Italian. Nonetheless, it's one example of an associate's frustration. Let me add that when you're in a crew and go down for something, have to do time, there's no expectation, or rather there shouldn't be one, when it comes to you or your family being taken care of. If someone's family is helped, it's the result of somebody's good nature or wanting to do what's right, but they're not obligated to. In my opinion, Willie Boy should have distanced himself and maybe moved his family away after being released. But for him, it was more about revenge. Another example of a different type of frustration is when Vito Guzzo, who was just an associate in a prison at the time, told his half-brother Anthony Guzzo about his dislike to being excused whenever incarcerated members needed to speak. And this is common during my time in life. On numerous occasions, I have seen or myself have dismissed associates when discussing business or if an introduction needed to be done. And when I say dismissed, it was never in a rude or dismissing manner, but more like, excuse us for a minute. Keep in mind, every member at one time was an associate. It's the natural order of any family, from the top, which would be the boss, to the low men on the totem pole, the associates. One of the more greater frustrations for an associate is the time spent being an associate. There were many guys, while at the associate level, who've had to sit back and watch other people be inducted. Which brings us to the following story. By the early 1970s, Gambino captain Carmine Fatico had legal troubles in the form of being indicted on 2 separate loan sharking cases. At the time, John Gotti, newly released from prison on a hijacking case, was put in charge to run the crew at the Bergen Hunt Fish Club. And this was despite that he was only an associate. Apparently, he even occasionally met with Carlo Gambino, the family's boss. And as we know, Gotti was eventually inducted into the family in 1977 after being released from prison for the McBratney hit. Allegedly, years later, Gotti was overheard on a wiretap referring to Gambino as a rat motherfucker and a backdoor motherfucker, because it's always been Gotti's intention that he should have been straightened out many years before he did. Naturally, when these alleged statements were made, Gambino was long gone. So let me know down in the comments, do you think Gotti would have still said it had Gambino been alive?